Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Musically Mindful. I'm really stoked to have my guest on with me this week. I fortunately gotten to spend some time with him, but I'm really looking forward to getting to know him a little bit better and pick his brain about the topic of mental health. He is a touring musician making real waves within bluegrass and the jam scene. He is a songwriter, a skater, a slackliner, and a mean guitar player. You might recognize him as the guitarist and vocalist from the Nashville-based high-energy quartet Sicard Hollow. So please join me in welcoming, originally hailing from Sicard Hollow Road in Birmingham, Alabama, my friend Alex King.
How we doing, Mike? Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you, man. I've been looking forward to doing this one for a minute, so I'm glad that we were able to make some time.
Yeah, it took us a little bit bouncing around with dates. You'd be like, "Oh, tomorrow." And I'm like, "Oh shit, it's tomorrow." I was like, "Ah, I got something." I'm glad we were able to line it up, though, man. Really been looking forward to doing this.
Likewise, and I think that it's going to be really cool to get to know each other in this
Oh,
context
you
and
froze on
really.
me.
Oh, I'm frozen.
No, there you go. Sorry, I would glitch up a little bit. We're just gonna keep on rolling through it. Yeah, my
Yeah, hey man. Like I said, we're just gonna let it happen organically.
yeah, sure, yeah.
So yeah, I think that this is gonna be really cool to really pick your brain and get to know you in this context a little better. And
Definitely.
you're out and about and working hard and hitting it. So
Oh yeah.
I'm excited to really see where you feel like you're at within your mental health in the scene.
Man, that's such a crazy thing. Like, honestly, I feel really, really solid, but it's like actually the first time in my life, like recently within like the past 2 years, where I've like been like, what's wrong? Like, why do I feel like this? And it's interesting. And I've like pinpointed that a couple different things, anxiety being one of the biggest ones. And I think that just came with pressure of the band, like trying to develop. And as more eyes are looking at you, like you think these people want all these things from you. And I've come to find out they just want genuine music and originality and us just being ourselves and bringing what we got to the table. I don't have to write this like freaking whatever rock opera, bluegrass opera, this massive thing for people to be like, "Oh, this guy's legit." Like I'm a songwriter. I never really thought I was a songwriter until like recently. And I've been writing for a little while, but like, well, that we can get into that in a little bit. But like with the mental health, like I had to cut a lot of things out, and I've been through a lot of trials and errors and whatever, trying to figure out what I call my recipe of life. And I think that is like me finding happiness and not only happiness because I need to experience all the emotions, but recognize that I'm able to experience all the emotions. And like with the band, it's like it's such a relationship and communication is like so major. And you can like destroy yourself. You could be doing the best you've ever been doing in your career, and like something's not right in your head, and you're like, "What's missing?" And it's like nothing's missing. I got everything here. Like we're crushing it. Like you got to remind yourself those things because it's like such an easy thing to like compare yourself to everybody else. And it's like, oh, they have 25,000 followers on Instagram, and we have 7,000. Like, what are we? Like, do people not like what I'm doing? And like that can just like spiral into whatever you let it spiral into, whether that's like destroying yourself with alcohol or finding any vice, like even like a nicotine vape on the road for me was like, I'm like cranking down this vape and I'm like, why do you need this? It used to be booze and like I don't hardly ever drink on the road anymore. And like I realized like I don't like to be hung over in the morning. Like I can't sing as well. Like I get more self-conscious because I drank the night before. My voice is raspy. And I'm like, why did you do like what were you trying to achieve? Like, and I love partying with the fans and you go out and do the whole thing, but like
Sure.
now what I figured out is like I'm a hermit. After the show, I'm like, I'll go say hey to people because I know I need that connection, but like I get anxious and about like all the above, like wait, like ruining my voice or like staying up too late and I'm not able to perform at my peak ability the next day. So it's like it's been such a thing of like figuring out health on the road and communication. And like once I like kind of found my groove with that, in ways to spend your time during the day because the show is an hour and a half to 3 hours of your whole day. And the rest of the time you're away from your girl, your dude, whoever, your dogs, your family, like there and I got my boys with me. That's a family on the road. Those are my brothers, but it's like it's not it's different and you're working. And it's like trying to find out the ways during the day to make it like not work and like just put these little things in your day. Like we go to skate parks all the time. I'm like, we got 4 hours before the show. Like, let's go to the skate park. Let's go walk around. Like, I'm gonna go skate. You guys walk by the do whatever you want to do, but like let's just have like our get some exercise in. Like you can sit in the van all day long before the show, or like go to the venue or go to the bar and start drinking. And it's just like I can't. I've learned that I can't. There's no longevity in our career with that if we're all on that same tip, which we were. Sorry, I'm just rambling, but when we started the band, we were all partying. Like every show, I would drink at least a six pack before we got on the stage. Like we get there
Mm.
early and have $100 bar tab, and we would have spent the whole bar tab before we even sound checked. And it's like now we get there, and I'm like, "Where's my tea?" My I'm like, "Cool, like get some throat coat tea with some manuka honey, and like intentionally, think about the show rather than like trying to numb my mind to what is going to happen, if that makes sense."
Yeah, absolutely. And don't apologize for rambling. I'm so happy that that's where this kicked off because there's so much to unpack there and there's so
Oh,
much to get into. And
yeah.
I love the fact that you said that it's a relationship, both with the band, with
100%.
your life on the road and all of those things. But it's also the relationship that we have with ourselves, right? And I think that it's really important to recognize that. And so within that, I want to ask
Right.
a little bit broadly. So when I say like mental health, what exactly does that mean to you?
Um, well, it's such an interesting thing because to me, it can be so much different to somebody who has like, and I have a lot of friends like bipolar, whatever it may be, like whatever thing, like multiple personality disorder or any of these things like that I've seen firsthand in people, and I'm like, I've never dealt with that. I've dealt with a lot of shit, but I'm like certain manic episodes or seeing people really like have these things where I was like, what was that? Like, oh, like what just happened? And then it's like finally after living with somebody who struggled with that type of stuff and taking the brunt of a lot of it, like, and they didn't mean, it wasn't like something that they were like, I'm gonna pick him. Like maybe they feel like I'm the one that can get vulnerable with them or like can take it or something. I don't know what the reason was, but like I took the end. I got the receiving end of a lot of that. And it would just be like for no reason. And I had to realize I'm like, this is like something that like is a disease. Like it's not just something that you can be like explain or like this is what they can you believe they did this? I'm like, I don't know what they were going through in their head. Like and so that's with my definition of mental health. Like I only know for myself, and that's like how I'm taking care of my everyday, how I feel when I wake up in the morning, like how I maintain that level throughout the day, whether that's like I wake up feeling like complete shit and crazy anxiety, which happened for a long time, and I couldn't even explain it. And I was talking to my girlfriend, and I'm just like, this is within the past year and a half. I'm just like, I don't know what's going on today, but like it's like I'm feeling it right now. Like, you bear with me, because like I don't know how why this is happening in my head today. And I've started to kind of pinpoint ways that I could start dealing with that. But like, yeah, to me, mental health is just like that balance and that maintain checking in on your emotions and regulating them. And if one's out of whack, maybe trying to understand why that's happening, whether that's like extreme happiness, extreme sadness, whatever it may be. I've found what really cleared my head, music does, but like physical activity, running. Dude, I'd go and this is the beginning of COVID, like things are kind of weird and I'm just like, what are we doing? I've been sitting around a lot. I just put on some shoes and just started running and I stuck with it. And like I do that on like on tour. Like I'll wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and go run 7 miles because I want to, because it allows me to have a good day. I don't even know how I could explain that to you, but I really got into running and sauna and steam room. So like I would run like Some mornings, I'm not shit you not, I'd do 14 miles out the door and back home, 7 miles out, 7 miles back, hop in my car, go straight to the sauna, and I'm like, hydration and sweat, dude, and I wanna pour, and I love it, and, I go every day, like, almost every single day of my life, I go, and it just opened up this whole world of health and taking care of yourself, cardio, I'm like, I wanna live forever. People are like, I can't imagine living past 60. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? I won't have peaked until I'm 80. Like, if I have anything to do about it, if I can maintain
Yeah.
vessel as long as my fingers are working, even if not, like, there's so many things in life that I've yet to do that I'm like, fuck, I wouldn't have spent time getting to that. But it's like, master this thing first. I'm like, I'm pouring all my time into that, and just writing. But like, dude, I want to fucking mountain bike. I'm a marathon runner. I just got into slack line. Like, I want to do all these things. I want to run more ultra marathons. Like, I want to get into, whatever is mountaineering. Like, there's so many things. So I'm just like, that is mental health. Like, you wanting to give up at 70, like, and you're already calling that when you're 30. I'm like, what have you maintain your brain, bro? Like, figure out like how to, again, I keep on saying your recipe because it looks so different to everybody. And it's just like, how many ways can you cook a dish? How many ways can you spice it up? One person might like that, one person might like that. Well, figure out what you like and fucking love it and like indulge in on it, and hopefully that's healthy things for you. And I've like realized that that's like what's more important these days. And like, don't get me wrong, like I party still, and I had to really figure that out. Like, I got sober for fucking 10 months. That's why I moved to Nashville. Like, I was sober as shit. I went to rehab, moved into a halfway house in town, met the band sober. Like, not everybody in the band, but like met Will, our mandolin player, at school. And he's like, "You want to go smoke?" I'm like, long haired hippie dude. And I'm like, no. And he's like, what? Like, he's like, "Your Grateful Dead shirt, long hair, like, you don't wanna get high with me?" And I'm like, "No, that would destroy me right now." Like, and it was cool, like, integrating, like, figuring my groove out in town, like, that way, because it was like I had been in rock bottom, whatever you wanna call it. I had been not happy and, trying to figure out lost rather. I could say that I was happy. Sure, there was great days when I was partying really hard, but it was like I was so lost as to who Alex is as a human. And then like getting sober and moving to Nashville and then finding the music because the music I've always loved music. God, fucking I've been obsessed with music since I was like able to listen. And it started with like random shit, Bon Jovi records, Kenny fucking Chesney, whatever. Like his songwriting, like I don't listen to that anymore, but I'm like, I could sing you his songs from back in the day that like lyrically like hit me. Like I think songwriting hit me like first. Like when somebody would like have a line, like some lyric, like get goosebumps. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how did they just do that? And it might not even have been a profound lyric. It could just be the way the words sound together that I'm like, boom, like whole like I remember that. I remember lyrics like it's the back of my fucking hand because I listen, truly listen. I'm trying to get better at listening while we're jamming. It's like that listening, critical listening to your boys playing and making a moment is way different than internalizing somebody's lyrics. And I was really good at internalizing the lyrics, but I never jammed with anybody. I grew up on that, and like what really turned into like my obsession was punk rock, Green Day. Like fucking A, I got obsessed with Green Day. I would wear a shirt, 7 shirts for every day of the week. Green Day, studded belt, tight black pants, checkerboard Vans that I drew Green Day lyrics all on the side of. Fucking dressed up as Billy Joe for Halloween, like fucking worship that shit. And like that's where my love, that's where the obsession came from. And I think I like picked up little things along the way where I would just get like so focused on I obsess over shit big time. It's happened in like different eras of my life. Green Day, hip hop, which came along after skateboarding, which paralleled with all of that. And my secret obsession was like folk music, like kind of more poppy stuff, Avett Brothers. And that's when I started singing. I was like 16 and I'd drive home from the skate park and I'd get my icy and I'd smoke my cigarette and I'd sing by myself. And I didn't sing in front of anybody till I was 21 or 20, I'm 29 right now. So about when I moved to Nashville, I'd never sang in front of anybody, hardly in front of my parents. God, like I just wouldn't have done it. And that was my guilty pleasure. I was like driving home and listening to their songwriting and singing the fucking shit out of their songs. And that I feel like that's just translated into so much, like kind of what drove me to songwriting when I moved to Nashville. Also, like surrounding yourself with Nashville cats. These kids are way different out here. They know how
For
to play.
sure.
Move here to play. Like I did not. I moved here to get sober and figure some shit out. My parents were like, "What do you want to do?" I go, "I have no idea." And I shouldn't have gone back to Birmingham. And I went to school at Auburn, so they sure as hell were not gonna let. They didn't want me to go back to Auburn. And I was kind of on their. I needed their help. I had, I didn't have a job. I didn't have I the means to do anything. So it was like they really shout out to my parents because they fucking got my back and put me where they thought I needed to be because they always wanted me to play music, but I gave it up because I wanted to party and skateboard. And like that was it. Like I had the guitar lessons when I was younger, but I never stuck with it, and I never got that obsession with it that I do now. Like that I found through bluegrass guitar, and now I'm well beyond just the bluegrass, but because I'm trying to learn so much new stuff with jazz influences and seeing all of our friend, all these up and coming bands like just anybody, Eggy, Dogs, like even the like for
Yep.
ours genre, grass, like Dwellers, like mend all these genres together, and like all these kids are like super proficient in all this different shit, and it's just like music such a language wouldn't. I guess what the goal is now is to be able to speak to anybody on any different medium of it, like whether it's a bluegrass song or we're playing some funk song, I can hop in and I'm like speaking that language, and connecting with people. So I don't even remember what your question was.
You answered the question that I asked about what mental health means to you, but I so enjoyed that because that just gave me so much insight. You and I are very similar. I'm also 29. I'm also creeping up on 2 years of sobriety, and
Oh,
what
you're
I
freezing up a
learned.
little bit. Hold that thought.
Am I back?
Let it catch up.
Let me know when I'm in the clear.
Hold on. Yeah, you're sorry. Yeah, it'll stop you, then it will like speed up your words. So I'm sorry. It's either one of our connections, but here, go for it. We're very similar and I can hear you.
So yeah, we're very like-minded. Like I said, I'm also 29. I'm also creeping up myself on 2 years sober, and I had to learn what sobriety gave me more of than what it took away, and how it changed my perspective on things and how it really pushed me forward. I also, when I was younger, I had guitar lessons and I gave up. I didn't find the same thing that you eventually did. Granted, I have a little bit in my later years, and I do play, and I've written some original music that I'm going to try to record later this year, which is going to be a fun individual, venture. But yeah, and also the biggest thing is mental health for me is I pride it on physical health. My whole journey and foray into mental health was really built on the back of me overhauling my health and overhauling my life, getting sober. I mean, I at one point in my life, I lost 125 pounds, and I completely
Wow.
restructured my whole approach to health and wellness, and it had such a lasting effect. But it's so great to know that there's so many people out in the world, like we're having a conversation right now where we're finding so much similarity, and it makes you feel connected to the other person, and it really shows you that the world is big, but the world is also small. Excuse me, that the world is also small.
Yeah, 100%.
And I really liked how you went into the point about writing and what songwriting kind of is. And
Love
it's
it.
something that I really wanted to touch on because there's a few particular lyrics from your music that I want to mention that I really, really love and relate to. And I want to foray into talking about what writing does for you and if it feels cathartic and how it helps your mental health. But the ones that I want to share are I'm coming back, and that's my word. It just took a little time more to make it back to the herd. Well, I'm not
Yep.
saying that I'm fully cured, but what I'm saying is I'm liking where I'm at.
You know
There
that
is
song?
something, I love that song. There's something super powerful in that level of acceptance of where you're at
Right.
and enjoying it and embracing it. And I think that that's so phenomenal. And I love those lyrics. And there's a few
Yeah,
other ones like, if your
exactly.
glass is half empty, you're drinking
Drinking
too
too fast.
fast.
Yeah.
If it's too full, there's no thirst that'll last.
Yeah.
Because it is what it is, and that's more of the same. You can't change the weather, but you can dance in the rain.
I like that one a lot.
I love that. And there's this quote that I've heard recently that says, thoughts are like waves. You
Okay.
can't control what or how heavily they'll come, but you can choose the ones that you want to ride. And I think that that's kind of close and symbiotic to those lyrics. And I mean, there's so many more, if you
Yeah,
walk it,
definitely.
if you walk it with intention every day, you will find your way. Like there's so many really powerful stuff in lyrics in your writing. And I guess I just want to know because it seems as a songwriter that you really do kind of wear your personality in the lyrics that you write. And I'm a huge lyrics guy. So what exactly does writing do for you? Is it cathartic? Is it a release? Just how does it
Everything.
help you?
I mean, like literally, I'm on my desk right now, like list of original songs, 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 list of original songs. All those papers are full of just song names. Like, and the other day I was just having to go through and like pull out like it. Writing is everything. I don't even know like how to explain how I write, but it's like me fully tapping into something inside of me. And half the time, I don't even know what I'm going to write about. Like a line just comes in my head, and I will have no direction, anything with the song. I just started writing this song called Heavy Shoulders, and it's finger picky, and it's like about an angel and a devil on your shoulder. And like, I just had this line, there's a devil on my shoulder. Um, always lighting up a smoke. He digs a knife into my neck every time he cracks a joke, and I don't even know why I thought of that, and it just like came to my head. And then I wrote this whole story about whatever it ends up being, and it's like halfway through, and like I love it, and it's like pretty fucking cool. And I just woke up like 2 mornings ago, and like that's what I do. I wake up and drink coffee, and I'm such like a fucking I don't know the word for it, but like I got to get going. Like I ain't got no time to waste. Like I can't turn on the TV in the morning. Like I will have a panic attack. I'm like, what are you doing with your life? Like no shame on people who do that. That's just the way my mind works. And sometimes I wish I could turn that off and be like,
Me too.
chill out for a little bit and be lazy and like enjoy that time and whatever. Maybe that's where when you're gonna find inspiration for another song. But like songwriting like fulfills my soul. And like I will listen to a song I wrote like when it's good or when I don't that's for me. I don't give a fuck what people think about my writing. I do and I don't. I'm like take it or leave it. Like it's an extension of my heart and my soul because it's literally I can just be a vessel to it and I can't induce that. I can't be like sit down Alex and crank out a fucking another song, but it's like when it's happening, it's like the most magical thing ever. And when you find that inspiration or whatever it may be, because sometimes it goes away and you're like, shit, I didn't write for like 6 months, like a little while ago. And like I have all these songs that are not done yet, like projects. If you go through my recordings on my phone, I mean, it'll just be me picking through a something and just riffing, just speaking whatever comes to my mind. And maybe one day I'll go back and listen to it and I'm like, holy shit, that was really good. And then I can piece together all these little things like a puzzle. My mind kind of compartmentalizes everything. And that kind of goes back to remembering lyrics so easily. I got a fucking memory bank of that shit of my stuff where I can be like, I know I wrote that down in my notes somewhere. I know that would fit here. And then I'll scroll through and I'll find it. And I'm like, whoa, that was like my subconscious like years ago. Now I don't even know how like linking up with how I'm thinking nowadays. And then the idea came together 4 years later, and it's like boom, like whoa. Like it's so crazy. It's all such a puzzle. And then it teaches me I eat my own words all the time. I eat my own words. I'm like, bro, you wrote about that in a song, and now you're out here judging this person for this and the whatever whatever. Just me being a human. And I'm like, remember what you wrote. And I love that because I'm like, that's a part of me, but I'm still teaching myself what I'm learning through these songs. It's not like I'm a saint or like I'm the best person in the world and like I've never done wrong, and I'm like, whatever, what I'm trying to convey in these songs. It's like sad, real things with a hopeful oversight on it. I think is like kind of my thing with writing, because it's like I've been through a lot of shit that I think other people can relate to, but I'm also the happiest I've ever been in my entire life, genuinely. Like genuinely, I wake up and I'm like, whether I have bad anxiety or not, like I love the shit out of my girlfriend. I have an amazing pup. My family supports me so much. Like my band is fucking the homies. They're my brothers. Like we're on the road. We're doing the thing. We're I'm talking with you, and like I would not have met you without the music scene. And it's like so all these blessings that I'm able to count every single day. And it's like songwriting is like my ticket to the promised land, to what I want my life to be. And people come up and they're like, your words like did something for me. People message me online and are like, yo, I was gonna fucking kill myself. Like I was shooting dope, doing this and that and this and this. Like for real deal. Like I could go through and like sometimes I'm like, this is a lot to carry. Like, I don't know if I can fix your issues, or if like maybe they're not even asking me for that, but it's just like these shared experiences where I'm like, I know I have to keep doing it. I know I have to keep sharing it. Like whether it's some shit where you're like, what are people gonna think? Like I used to think that. Now I'm like, I don't give a shit if I like it. Like somebody else is gonna like it, and if I got something from it and put a little bit of my life experience into it, somebody else is gonna relate to it. Whether or not it's every person or that one person in the back of the venue that after the show is like, dude, I needed that tonight. I'm about to go home and like get my shit together, or like I'm gonna go home and write a song because you inspired me, or whatever. I'm gonna pick up the guitar. I'm gonna go on a run. Like the amount of people I inspired to run, that they told me that it helped their mental health just by putting it out there. I'm like, hey, this is my journey. I'm learning how to do this. And 5 miles turn into 10 miles, 10 miles turn into 20 miles, 20 miles turns into marathons. And people are like, that fucking hippie dude over there is running the fucking, and then I have homies that I just met through festivals hitting me up saying, got 6 miles in today, bro. Feels so fucking good. And I'm like, it's the same thing with songwriting. It's like, share it and like live it and eat it, breathe it, shit it. Like whatever I'm putting out there, like wear that shit. But it's, you can't be fake about it, but it's like, that's not fake. That's me. That's my story, you know? So to answer
Absolutely.
that question, songwriting is everything. Like it gets me off. It literally does. Like there's nothing like sitting down, and I'll sit down for 10 hours if the gears are churning, and like hammer it out. And I'm like, it's amazing. I love it so much. I'm very glad that it found me when I was like only 8 years ago. Like really I started writing when I was like 21, and it's come so far. And yeah, I'll write till the day I die for sure.
Well, one cool aspect that I just heard about, your explanation was that, and I'm going to flush out more, but it also keeps you in check.
Oh yeah.
The things that you write, like you said, you're teaching yourself and you're learning through the things that you write, but you're also, when you put it down and when you write it, it kind of, then you got to stand by it.
Yeah.
And
Straight
it's it's it's
up.
it's it's that authentic sense of self, and that's something that, I feel like, I don't particularly love calling myself like a content creator or what have you, but I do create. And I've had moments in my life where, especially in this whole thing with mental health, was that I was making stuff and it gets reaction and people reach out, and I get a lot of really kind messages that a video that I made inspired somebody, or people tell me that something that I did made, just like you, made them go do something. And that's the coolest thing. But when you lose, there was a point where I had to stop making the stuff that I was, because I started making it for other people, and it
Right.
it just lost its authenticity, and I lost
No,
that
it is awesome.
passion and that drive.
Right. Changes it.
And absolutely, and it's people's perception too, like I always say, when I make a video, that's me flipping the camera around and talking to me, telling
Right.
me what I need to hear,
Right.
and wherever it trickles out is beautiful. Like a recent example with the podcast, after I did the episode with Brownie, somebody that I'd never met before reached out to me on Instagram and said, what Brownie and I talked about him going to a doctor and getting put on medication, made him not feel alone, and he went to a doctor and got put on medication. And that was such a powerful thing because
Wow.
I'm not making this podcast to do anything but have a conversation and meet people and let people know that they don't have to feel alone and that there's shared experience. And it was so moving to me. Like, I don't care about followers and listens and whatever. Don't get me wrong. I want it to be out there and I want people to enjoy it. But that's more than I could ever ask for. Something that I made or something that I talked to somebody about made somebody go help themselves.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. And for you,
All checked. Like mission accomplished, like yeah.
exactly. And I love that writing gives you that. And I think that with, we're different forms of creators, but it also helps us center and it helps us find a lot within ourselves and stay level and add to that recipe, being able to get things out and have a cathartic release and all those things and what have you.
Yeah.
And I guess going into the next phase of kind of what you started to touch on was, being out on the road and experiencing people and having these interactions and these conversations. What exactly does life on the road give you? And what are challenges that you see? You mentioned anxiety. And if you have anxiety, being out on the road is probably tough. But just
It's
talk to me a little about life on the road and what it
yeah.
feels like.
Yeah, well, it's changed so much recently, um, because I found the love of my life and moved her down to Nashville. And like before then, I was single for like 7 years, like just doing my own thing, had a bad go of it, had to figure my shit out, really got comfortable with being single and working on myself. And it was amazing. And at that time, you could have put me on the road for the next 5 years and I wouldn't have given a shit when I came home. I would not have. Like, I love Nashville and I love being here, but like, there wasn't like that thing. I mean, there's always that thing to come home to, community and everybody here, but like, it wasn't as hard to leave home because the people that I was leaving home, nobody was at home. The band, I live with the band, like we're all on the road together. So it's like now, it's we've gathered these tools and we've become more experienced with it. It's not our first rodeo. I've been doing it for a little while now. I can say I'm a professional musician, which blows my fucking mind, but it's like I know how to do this shit. Like we have been doing it for quite a while and we've been playing a shit ton of shows and like um it's been tough and it's also been the best thing ever. So like what it gives you is like the experience of a lifetime. But what's funny about it is you show up to these towns and people are like, you get to see all of the country. Yeah, I get to see the interstate for 10 minutes leading up to the venue. Then I play the show, and by the time we leave, it's dark outside, and then we're on to the next town. Like, yeah, I went to this town, but I spent 10 minutes there and then 3 to 7 hours in the one little shitty bar. Love the shitty bars, nothing against them, but like, they're a dime a dozen now. It's like each town you go to, you experience this. It's a similar thing. And then there's the days when you have off days and you're like, we were spending Easter in Boston and it was just like, guys, this is cool as fuck. Like this is just a great day. Like it's beautiful outside. Like let's go explore. Like this is like the adventure. I mean, it's all an adventure. So it's like you gain so much, you meet so many fucking people, and like some people are crazy as shit. And you're like, I don't know if I'd ever want to see that person again, but now I could write a song about him or her. That was an experience. Or you meet your best fucking friends and family that are gonna be ride or dies for the rest of your life. And like those nights are irreplaceable. When like the random dudes like come back to the spot. I got a badass spot. I want to put you guys up. And you show up and it's like you just vibe out all night in these crazy homes that you meet with these people that have dedicated their lives to like touring music and they got posters all on their walls and whatever, and you're just like, wow, like this is amazing, right? And it's like this is amazing. And that keeps you going, and the great shows keep you going. But then you play a fucking terrible show where the communication wasn't good, or the monitor mix wasn't good, or your head wasn't right before it. The day didn't go the way you wanted it to. You had anxiety, whatever the fuck. You have a stomach ache 5 minutes before the show. Like And anxiety does that to me, dude. I'll shit. I'm just gonna get into it. I don't care. I'll shit sometimes like 10 times before I go on stage because of anxiety. It's just expelling nothing out of my stomach. And I'm like, the boys know it. They're like, "What? God, you got it bad." And I'm like, "Dude, nothing's even coming out. Like, I'm just anxious right now." And then you hope you get on stage and that first song pops you into this blissful state, and you go, "This is the most comfortable I've ever been in my entire life. Like, why was I freaking out 5 minutes ago? There's 100 people here. We played to crowds of thousands of people, whatever." It's like sometimes the smaller shows, I'm like, why do I feel like this? So it's like navigating all of these emotions, and you just hope that it's like the best day of your life, which happens a lot on tour. You're like, that's what it's about, boys. Like, we came together, and like, and then other times you're just you get off stage, you're like, what was that, dog? Like, and then you rinse and repeat. I don't know. Like, it's such a roller coaster, but it's like it has become a little bit harder just because you got loved ones back home, man, and you're like 2 weeks out. You're like, fuck, dude, I'm homesick, man. Like, I'm a man, but I'm homesick. I'm gonna be like, I'm sad right now, and it's like trying to have that communication with your boys, like, or whoever's on the road, or whoever you call or talk to, or like, and we just had to I'm not even gonna air out our shit, but like, it's not even shit. Like, we just had to have a meeting at Sicard Hollow and be like, guys, I think our communication could get a little bit better and we'd be a little bit more efficient. Like, now's the time to like really take this shit seriously. And like, not that we haven't been, but you look at all these bands and you're just like, wow, these, and not to compare, but sometimes comparing can be inspiring. And you're like, these guys are operating on a really high level and we can do that, and like we can and we do. But it's like there's always these screws that need to be tightened, and you figure that out on the road, and there's times where like again, it's like the best 2 weeks ever. And there's times where like you have a week of that where you're like, fuck that. And then the last week is like so great. And you're just like, oh man, like that's why we like trek through all that bullshit to like have this night together, like, and to provide that experience where like we just fucking lost our minds in our music and like really like had this like out of body experience together. And it's like that's what it's about, like we felt it, we did it. The whole crowd felt it. Like, so yeah, it's such an interesting thing being on the road, but like I love it, and I love being home. I'm a homebody, dude. I get up at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I play my guitar all day long. I go outside and play guitar and have a life here, and it's beautiful. But like Jeremy was talking about in his episode, he goes, "It all became a little bit easier when I accepted my life was going to be on the road." And like when Tasha came into my life, that was such a we already knew it. Like, I moved her down and went on a month-long tour with the Kitchen Dwellers, and like she's from Montana and like knew that was gonna happen, but it like doesn't make it easier. But it's like you wait till you get home and you're like, okay, now we're back home. We spend our time, but I'm like, I'm going in a week, and I will be doing this for the rest of my life until we can find a way to bring our loved ones on the road with us once we build it up to that level. Which who knows? I have high hopes for it. Knock on wood that we get there, but I can't say that that's a tough thing to do. That costs a lot of money bringing people on the road and doing it. It's a whole thing, man. So it's like we're really figuring it out and how to operate as a unit, as a business, and as brothers, and as all the above, because that is what the relationship encompasses. It's like not just family. It's like business partners. We're owners of an LLC. We want to see money come. We want this to be our lives. So it's like it's such a difficult thing to do, but you really got to believe in it 100% for it to like for you to be gung ho about getting back in the van and sweating your balls off and staying up all night and doing the whole thing. So, but I would I'm so grateful and so honored that I've even been given the chance to do this because so many people move to this town that I'm living in with the hopes of becoming this big star, and it never happens. I don't know why that is. I can't tell you the formula for it or whatever, but it's like, man, I didn't. This shit chose me, and I ended up with the right people at the right time, and like you can't. That does not come around very often. I feel like people spend their whole lives trying to get a team together to do what we're doing. So I'm like, you got to take it seriously and got to really fucking cherish it and analyze it. And I think all that, that's where all the mental health comes into play. And if you ignore all that shit, your band will crumble. You will implode, and you will hate each other, and you will break up. Ultimately, that will happen if you don't check. in on your emotions and get vulnerable with each other. I think it's very,
Absolutely.
very important.
So, I mean, again, we go back to the recipe, right? You can only ever know what your recipe is, but it's important, especially when you're in a unit the way that you guys are, to share bits and pieces and share ingredients and let each other know where you're at and check in because it is a
Right,
continuous relationship. And in the terms of creating and having something that means something to you personally, but also accepting that it's becoming a business and a reality and a package that you're delivering to other people. It's a constant duality that I feel like we run into. It's like, I'm making this for me, but like, I also need it to be really good. And then you
right,
get in your head and you're like, oh, fuck. Like, should I have wrote that? Should I not? Maybe we should have
right,
played that tonight. Or like last time
right.
we were
You're,
here, so
that's
it's
real,
a
man.
you're in a constant state of flux. But
Yeah.
what I think is really cool about you guys is, I mean, I listen to a lot of bluegrass. There's a lot of the resurgence in bluegrass music over the past few years is
Wild,
mounting. It's huge.
wild. Oh
But
yeah.
you guys have something unique. You don't sound like every other band. There's not a banjo. Parrish is on an electric bass. I mean, pretty much exclusively now, it seems. And it's just something different, and you guys offer a different package with it, which I think is really cool. And I think for me, the thing that I connected with you guys the most is your lyrics, and that's because I'm a lyrical guy, and it's the reason
Right.
that I shared. You're the first guy that I've brought on that I specifically wanted to highlight lyrics.
That's awesome. That
You
that meant
know,
the world too. That
yeah.
honestly.
I pay attention, and I think it's important, to let people know that you really, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you go to a show just because you're trying to seek something. You might not even know what it is. You got to go and dance and close your eyes and just
Right.
feel or what have you. But for me, a lot of what I look at and what I look for when I go to music is the way that I can connect to it and the way that I can relate to it and that it means something to me. And a lot of those lyrics mean something to me, and I relate,
Yeah.
and I love them. So,
That's
kudos for
awesome.
that. But
Thank you.
genuinely also thank you for putting that out into the world. And I think there's something that talking about, previous episodes that I talked about with Jake from Eggy and with Jeremy too, is that you can only ever meet somebody as deeply as you've met yourself. And I think that it's really powerful to share lyrics that you've written and things that you've wrote with the world because you're bearing a piece of yourself. Like you said, it's your story. And
Right.
it's
It's
so
important.
cool when people relate to it. So, in that respect, what does it mean to you when people, I mean, like the way that I just did, when people on the road, when you're in a city you've never been in, when you're in a town that you've never even fucking heard of, like who's a what's it call it,
Right.
Wyoming, you know?
There's a lot of those too. Yeah.
Exactly. So what does it mean to you when people, I asked Jeremy, I asked Jake, and I know that it is the same for you too. What does it mean to you that your music is comfort music for people and that they put on sicard when they're having a good day or having a bad day or when they
Right.
need something?
Yeah. It's an honor, and I guess a responsibility in a way. I don't really view it like that. I kind of just do my own thing, and I don't really worry about it too much. Like, I love the conversations when people like, I'm always down to talk about it. Like, all my everything means something. Like the song you were talking about earlier, you probably like that. I wrote that about leaving rehab, about moving to Nashville. It's like I'm not fully cured. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but like I'm really stoked with where I'm at right now, and like that's like what it is. It's like a car that starts to hydroplane, controls what I must regain. Like I spent the last 6 months trying to get up a fucking Xanax and alcohol, and it's like spun out like a crashing plane, controls what I must regain. It's like that.
Hmm.
All of that is just like about that whole spin and like my head being so fucked. And it's like that. Maybe some people don't even know like what that song's about. Whatever. It's not like this is a get sober song or this is like my journey, but like that totally is what it. That's what I wrote that shit about, and that was the way that the words found me and whatever. But it's like it means the world when people pick up on it because you listen, you know? Some people come to our shows, like you said, like Paris is gonna slap the shit out of that bass. Will's gonna shred the mandolin. Matt's gonna light you up on the fiddle. I'm gonna try to do the same on the guitar, but it's like, you know, where we started was like my songwriting and us trying to figure out how to be a blue. Like none of us could shred. Matt could. Paris wasn't even in the band. Like we were just like a mediocre bluegrass band with a kid that could really rip the fuck out of a fiddle, and I could sing you the songs that I was writing, you know, and like I think that like people did really connect with that and still do. So it's amazing when after the show people are like, "I see you, bro," and I'm like, "What's up?" And they're like, "I listen," and I'm like, respect, dude. And then it's like whether you want to tell me a line or not, or you want to come up to me and like dissect it, like I'm not gonna like be like, what does this song mean? And I'm not every time. Maybe sometimes I'll be like, this it's up for interpretation. But if you really want to get down to it and talk to me about specific things, like that means the world to me because I spent a lot of whether it was a lot of time. Some of them write themselves in 30 minutes. Some of them take fucking 5 years. Like the intention doesn't change whether the timeline, 15 minutes to years. Like the intention's still the same. It just depends on how it comes out of you. So it's like, yeah, it means the fucking world. It keeps me going. It makes me want to share more sad songs or more hope, like whatever it may be. Like it's like, all right, this song's about like like I wrote this song that I need to release it. I need to get better about because I have like fucking so much shit that Sickard has never played and like that maybe doesn't have his place with Sickard, like which is fine. It's totally fine. It's like Brian Murray from Dog. I keep on bringing up Dogs, but like Brian's one of my favorite songwriters. I've been writing with him recently, like just sending tunes back and forth. I'm like, we should do this because our styles mesh pretty good. But it's like even practicing that, like collaborating with some people, like working on that craft, and like there's just so much shit that I haven't released that I have hopes to release. But it's like I have some songs like that about. I have a friend whose husband killed himself a long time ago. And this is like one of the first really real songs I wrote. It's called Daddy Made a Mistake. And I played at their funeral. I played Broke Down at his funeral. I had never met her before. She's amazing. She's in the scene in town and stuff and super cool. And like I got recommended to go play this funeral, Broke Down Palace. And I made up an excuse to her. I'm like, no. Because I was nervous. And I was like, you have to fucking go do this. Like my soul was like, you have to hit her back up and say, no, I have the time to come do this. And I played in that church barefoot to random people, Broke Down Palace. Everybody cries, and her little girl gets on the stage and starts talking about how her dad made a mistake. And this is like a 10-year-old girl. And like, I wrote this whole song about suicide. And like, I didn't know if I should share it because I was like, this is like, I felt so inspired by it. It was such a moving moment. But like, is this even my place to share this? Because like, I'm not the one grieving. Like, and I wrote this from like her perspective. And like, every year, like they like it moved it like their whole family. I posted it and their whole family, like all these people start friend requesting me, like, oh my God, like this is beautiful. Like I can't express how much this helped us mourn and grieve through this loss. Like, and I didn't know the guy, like just happened. It just came through me. And it's like that shit, like dude, that changed my life. Like just that connection with them, and like still the girl, like she's older. That was 5 years ago, and like she still hits me up, and she's like, "Thank you so much," and like keeps up with the band, and it's just like for the rest of her life, like I'll have a connection with her, and like vice versa, and like that is beyond me. I can't explain that shit. Like I can't explain what drew. Well, I can, but like what drew me to go take this opportunity to go be a part of such a. This is not like playing a fucking wedding. Like everybody is like sad. Like, this man took his own life, and this is like a. Dude, I was the most nervous I'd ever been in my entire fucking life, and it's like pushing yourself through those situations that force growth and connection and you know, all the emotions. And it was really great to feel that. And I think that just inspired me to just keep on putting out these tunes that are kind of like my buddy fucking died of they brought him back to life with fucking Narcan, but he was dead on the pavement in front of my fucking house. And I pulled his ass out of the car and fucking called the cops and him hitting him with chest compressions. And I wrote a song called Chest Compressions. And it's like that song is like a whole story about that whole day. And like it's tough for him, like to even play that in front of him. Like he don't really want to. It is like therapeutic now, but it's like reliving that day. But it's like I had to put that shit out there too. I'm like somebody with the fentanyl fucking epidemic and like all this shit going on, like and how many friends I've had that have died from heroin overdoses or opiate overdoses. I'm like, I have to put this out. And like that all started with that first song. I'm like, I've already felt this. I already know like this is a very vulnerable thing. And like people are like, wow, Alex, you're really putting it all out there. Like in a way of like, aren't you embarrassed by that? And I'm like, fuck no. Like you should put more shit out there. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but people I guess hide from like, and this is a shame because maybe some people will never share like their like, these amazing qualities because they give too much of a fuck about what people will think. And it's like, I stopped giving a shit. Like, you gotta care a little bit, but it's like, I back what I know my moral compass is pointing in the right direction. I give a fuck about a lot of people and I want the best for pretty much everybody. Like, I'll always give you the time of day, and it's like, it sucks that some people don't feel comfortable enough, like really putting themselves out there. But that was kind of like a theme of my songwriting too. Unapologetically me. That's gonna take me the furthest in life. I can't fucking be anybody else. I tried to be this wook, this whatever the fuck, like eat a bunch of drugs and party all the time. And I'm like, yeah, that has its place. Like, love it. But like that it wasn't me. Like I tried to be this fucking partier in college, like, and figure out like how to be a part like in the South. Like I could just didn't find myself, man. And like till I like did like some serious soul searching and was like, oh, there's Alex. Let's build upon this. Now I'm like, I'm motherfucking Alexander Kavas King up in this bitch. Like, take it or leave it, like that's me. Like, that's all you're gonna get for the rest of my life. And like I think I'm fucking great. Like, not to be even be like that. I don't like stroke my ego all the time, but I'm like, I think I'd like to hang out with me. Like, I like to talk to people about real life shit or whatever you want to talk about. I don't know. I can solidly say that. Like back in the day, I'm like just like in this shell or whatever, like this big personality, but hiding like what's actually inside, because it just numb your brain and think you're like the life of the party or whatever. And it's like, nah, you don't need shit to change your how you are. You don't need that to go out and be you. Like just go do it and like the rest will follow. So like, yeah, it's been a crazy journey with the songwriting and people picking up on it and like telling me how they feel about it because like it's selfish in a way too. Like it helps me out. It's like this is for you, but like I'm gaining something from it too. So that was a
Mhm.
weird juxtaposition to battle mentally too. It's like, wow, am I being really selfish by trying to write these like really sad songs? And it's like, no, like again, I can't try. Like they just come out. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's a
Dude,
beautiful thing,
we we are so similar, and I love it, and it's fucking me up at the same time in the best way.
man.
Like so many of the things that you're saying are things that I feel and that I'm relating to also in my own ways. And it's so funny in the context of, like I said, meeting people as deeply as you've met yourself. And there's something so important, and like you said, not a lot of people do it, is 100% being unapologetically you. And
Right.
it's
Talk.
so important. And it's funny, I think I recently put out a post that it was just a picture of me, and I spoke about, like, my name's Mike Renzetti. I'm a marketing coordinator, I'm a hiker, I'm a climber, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a brother, I'm a boyfriend, I'm a son. And then I'm a recovering addict. I'm a person that
Mhm.
deals with depression and anxiety, and I'm a person who doesn't have it all fucking figured out, but I'm a person who loves people, and I'm a person who believes.
Right.
And the following text was me just trying to present myself to me and to other people exactly as I fucking am, and appreciating and accepting all the shit that I've done in my life, all the times where I did fuck up, and all the times where I did have that connotation of being a fucking acid guy, and all the times that I wasn't who I wanted to be. You have to learn to love all of those iterations, and you have to learn to love that guy, because that
Right.
guy is still in us now.
Oh yeah.
Your former self is still a part of you. My former
Oh yeah.
self is still a part of me, but look at us now. And something that you said earlier was, it's not just about being happy, but it's the ability to allow ourselves to be happy.
Yeah.
And that's so fucking powerful, and it's so important. And I mean, a lot of, I recently too found the love of my life, and it's
Congrats.
changed. my perspective on so many things, and it's given me so much insight and really just made me learn about communicating and
Oh,
learning
yeah.
what it means to be there for somebody, but also let somebody be there for you
Yeah.
and have
Huge.
somebody that you're not afraid to talk to, have somebody that's also not afraid to call you on your bullshit, which is so important
Right.
because
That's a huge
it's
one.
it's so nice to have somebody that is just honest with you. And I feel like I find that a lot in people, but I find it seldomly where it lasts. And it's funny
Right.
that you mentioned Brian because Brian is a great friend of mine, and the
Oh,
Dogs boys are. I mean,
I love them all.
I rep them wherever I can. They're
Yes, sir.
hometown. They're hometown friends. But
Us, we gotta keep that right there. So us fucking playing with them is old Jimmy
so
and
so that's the show I was just gonna mention
and
was the
shout out
sick
to Mr. John Maruka, of course. Gotta have him
John boy.
too.
Oh my God, I love that boy. Um, but
Just
yeah,
continue, sorry.
when I met you was at the Sick the Dog shows at the Pony. I
Mhm.
met you in the Empress, and
Yeah.
I remember our first interaction was there was a ton of wooks everywhere, a ton of people in the room.
Oh, what mess.
Yeah, we're having a blast, and I walk over, and I remember the first thing you said to me. I said, "What's up?" and gave you a hug, and you're like, "Damn, dude! Like I can smell you from here. You smell good." And we just had a laugh, and it was really funny. And then I'm across the room, and it's still like, "All right, big dog, like I can still smell you from here." And
Right,
it
yeah,
was
dude. You smell so
so
good.
it was so funny. But
I was like, oh boy, flexing out here, bro.
yeah, well, someone has to,
Yeah,
But
man.
it was so funny, and
I forgot about that, bro.
it just made me like level with you for I'm like because that's I think a
Yeah.
lot of times what you guys deal with too is a lot of musicians, you guys get idolized and you get put on this pedestal, and people follow you around, and it's probably it can be a difficult thing to deal with,
Yep.
people, because you're like, well, I just want to go slackline and hang out with my girlfriend and chill out.
Straight up.
But I think that's something that's really cool about those interactions. Music has given me all of the people in my life virtually. It's given me
Yeah.
my friends, it's given me my girlfriend, it's given me musicians like you that I've learned to call friends and that I can connect with and talk to about I mean, look at I'm a dude living in Colorado, you're a dude living in Nashville, you're a touring musician, I'm not, but look at how many similarities there are
Oh yeah.
in our
It's
lives.
insane.
And it's a beautiful thing to realize that something that Jeremy had mentioned is it's this hive mind and
Yeah.
this beautiful connection and really community and understanding each other and trying to reciprocate to one another.
Yeah.
And I find that for me, what I get from the other side of the guardrail might be different from what you get on stage. So what I'm curious of is you said, music's been a thing for you for so long and you've had connection to it in your own ways. Me too. I grew up, my dad was a Zeppelin and Queen and Elvis fan. My mom was like
Yeah.
Donna Summer and Barbara Streisand. My
Yeah.
sister
Yeah.
was into theater, and I found myself listening to Wu-Tang and Linkin Park.
That's the
And
shit. I listen to Linkin Park like still like every week. Like, dude, I run to like
exactly.
Hybrid Theory or Meteora like literally every week. Like that's my shit.
Meteora and the 36 and Enter the 36
I love
Chambers
it.
were the first two CDs I ever bought. And
That's so sick.
then, you move on and you find The Dead and you find Fish and you find all this other music, and then that leads me into different parts of my life where I find, pigeons are good friends of mine and guys that I credit with
Um,
so drastically impacting my life and being friends and being positive influence and helping me grow and change. But
mhm.
for you, do you see a difference between what music gives you on stage versus now when you're off stage or when you're in the crowd or even when you're just at home with your feet kicked up and you want to listen to your comfort music?
Right. Yeah, I do. That's such an interesting question. That'd be really hard to explain. But Like, the feeling I get when we play a great show or the feeling I get when I'm at home singing Jim Croce at the top of my lungs, like, me you could compare those, and, like, there's definitely an escape in both of those where, like, I'm like, because I love that. I love the chilling out and, like, internalizing songwriting and, like, singing at the top of my fucking lungs all night. Shit, I did it the other night. I sang Blink 182 for whatever, like, I love that shit. Like, yes, I love and I love going to see music, and I used to, like, really love going to see music, and I still do, but it's such a different thing for me now because back in the day, like, I obsessed over Fish, and I seen a lot of different bands in the jam scene for a lot of years. Seen almost 100 Fish shows and, like, fucking however many of all the bands that trickled down from the Fish pyramid. I saw everybody. I've seen everybody a million fucking times. I've been doing that for a decade now. But I used to go there, like, for the music for sure, because I was obsessed with it. Like, I knew every single song. I knew like everything. I'm not just there like eating a tin chirp and being like, I don't know what the fucking song is. But like that did rule my life for a little bit. I was going there to get really high and try to be this like dude in the scene, but the shows are always spiritual experiences, and like I don't ever want to discredit that because I did go there for the tunes, but I'm in such a different headspace when I go to shows now. Like I haven't been on a 4-day bender. Most of the time I have a couple beers and whatever, or even if that, and I go to the show like and I have anxiety when I go to shows now because so many people now want to talk and like it's funny that never really changed because I did so much Fish tour and I met so many people that when I'd go to Fish shows it was still kind of like how it is now. Everybody wants to say what up, you got all your homies, but it's like really with the live music experience, if I want to really get what I want out of it, I need to put on a hoodie, pull my hair back, and be like, "Don't talk to me." Like hide out and like just be able to experience the show. And recently, I've gotten that with some shows, like a couple Billy String shows where he just blew the roof off the place, and I'm just like, "Fuck, dude! Like we gotta practice, Like shit,
Yeah.
practice." Like wow, that was insane. The Kitchen Dwellers just saw them recently, and I'm like, wow, like it moved me. Daniel Donato had a performance recently, and I love those guys, but I'd never really seen them cranking, and they fucking ripped it. And I'm like, wow, that was inspiring. But it's such a different thing. It is different. It hits the same buttons, but when we play a really good show, that feeling is almost like relief when I get off the stage. It's like, oh, like I get anxious. It's a weird thing trying to create music and like we improvise, but not like to the level of completely letting go of the reins because that shit is scary. And I think without the drummer, it's like such an interesting space to navigate. I'm not saying it's harder or easier. I just think it's something we're working on. Like we jam shit out and we'll play a song like 20 minutes long or whatever, but like the amount of times we actually let go of the reins, like which has happened, but it's hard to do that and just create. It's like now you're fucking swimming in the shark the deep end. Like your floaties are off, dog. Like you're out there swimming with your dudes and you're trying to figure out how to create a musical moment. When that shit lands, that is way different to me than seeing like Fish land a big jam. You're like, we're in it, like we're fucking swimming in it. And it's like that feeling of getting off stage and getting in the van and driving to the next town. I'm like, oh, like it's like a weight off my shoulders. Maybe it shouldn't even feel like that, but it's like I almost enjoy the feeling after the show when we're all stoked on it because it doesn't always happen like that. But like if everybody's like fucking hype, I'm like, dude, that feeling, that glow after is like indescribable to me. It's inspiring as fuck. Um, so yeah, I think that would be the difference between the both. You can definitely hit the same buttons, but ultimately, like there is a difference in the inspiration that comes from one of the two. Um, but it is comparable for sure. Both are amazing feelings, and both I think are necessary for my trajectory in this career. I think you got to go see music. You got to go get inspired, or you got to go see what you don't want to do, or like whatever. You got to go and experience all different types of music too. Like especially being in the band that we're in, it's like we don't just go to bluegrass and try to figure out what they're doing. It's like you go to the funk show and you're like, dude, that pocket was crazy. Like, how about let's try to figure out how to do something like that in a jam. Um, but yeah, definitely inspiration from both sides of that for sure. But I think they're a little bit different.
I think they kind of have to be, right? Like what you take from in your personal life and what you take from and what you listen or what you go and see can incite and trickle into the things that you play on stage. And also
Right.
what you play on stage or something that you might be seeking musically that you want to play might make you go and listen to something unique.
Yeah.
It might, I kind
Dude,
of want to do
Brian,
like it.
everyone finger picking, dude. I've been listening to fucking Merle Travis, Chet Atkins, fucking Jerry Reed, because like in my sync, I've been hitting up Brian. I'm like, where, where do I get started? And he had his whole Tommy Emmanuel journey where,
Mhm.
he's such an incredible, versatile player with his hand. I'm like, I could use that in some Sicard Hollow stuff and my singer-songwriter stuff. So I'm like, boom, now I'm like studying, it's like cool. Like I got something new to like sink my teeth into that I really haven't gone like completely down the rabbit hole with. Very aware of their music and their level of playing, but it's like it's so cool to be like, all right, sick. Like let's go down this little path, and like maybe I'll be able to like play this one song finger picking like a couple shows down the line. Like I just started trying to write this song and it's all finger style, and I'm not the best at it, but one day I'll be proficient at it, if I just stick with it. But yeah, I think that's super cool. Yeah, continue. Sorry, I kind of just was had that
N-
little thought, but
No, no, that's the we're on a podcast. That's the whole fucking
yeah,
point
hell
here.
yeah,
But no, something that I also want to say is I love how much you value your relationships with your peers and not just your bandmates, but the guys that you see out on the road and the other bands that you play with or that you have, you're developing those kind of relationships too because they are
yeah,
relationships and they're adding to your recipe. And I
100%.
think that that's something that people can translate into their own lives and that outside of music in particular and kind of getting on back to the idea of mental health within that, you need people. You need to have people to bounce stuff off of. You need to have people that maybe not that are interested in what
Dude,
you're
for
doing,
sure.
but like you got to have those pockets of people where like I can share a music thing. I can share a life thing. I can
You need
listen
it.
to what they have.
You
And
have to.
I think that
That's really
something
important.
yeah, I mean it's again it's the hive mind, it's the community. Like I'll admit, I went through a big part of my life where I didn't want to fucking be a part of anyone or anything. I
Yeah.
needed
Yep.
to, whether it was induced by, things that I was running away from or things that I was running towards that I shouldn't have been or
Right.
what
Yeah.
have you. And admittedly, something I've recently realized is those things needed to happen. Like I had to go and seek those things, and I can't kick myself for the things that I did. I can't be mad about all the fucking drugs that I did. I can't be mad about the mistakes that I made because they made me who I am now. And it's that same of, I'm liking where I'm at. I fucking love where I'm at. And I'm the same as you. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my fucking life. And it took a while to get
Beautiful thing.
here, but
Yeah.
within that and the community is that, like there's that funny like, maybe the real ground score was the friends we picked up along the way.
Right.
And while that's funny and what have you, it really is there's truth
True.
inside of that.
Yeah.
I would
I
not be
agree.
the person that I am without the friends that I have. And music has given me that. And it's something that now with this podcast and other things that I'm doing that I'm trying to give back to in a good way because it means
Yeah.
something to me. And just like mental health can mean something different to everybody, music can mean something different to everybody too.
Yeah. 100%. It does. I mean, we found that in just in our band too. It's like when you bring a player like Parrish in, like he was so technically proficient, it brought a level of, and theoretically he knew a lot. It brought this level of more complexity. We want to tackle more complex pieces, which requires more energy that we have to put into it. We got to fucking practice. I mean, that you should always practice, and I believe in that. But it's like, here's this fucking jazz piece, this Chick Corea song, and I'm like, holy fuck, there's like 15 inversions of these chords. Like, better take out the textbook and start studying, And it's like inspire. It was like super inspiring, but like also daunting at the same time. And it's like it brought in this like new vibe to what we were doing, which was actually really fucking cool. But it just started pushing the band. But it was just like things that things that I wouldn't have thought to try to start tackling, which in turn builds chemistry between us and like develops like you know what we're trying to achieve as a band. But I want to go back a little bit to the point you were saying you need to bounce ideas off of people. I think that's so important. And like recently with, and I do it with the band all the time, but like there's certain songs again that I don't think are Sacred Hollow esque, and I'm just like want to know what people. I'm like that line gave me goosebumps. Like, do you fuck with this at all? And like Brian's been really cool about that because a while ago we were picking and I'm like, we should fucking write. Like, you got really cool shit. And he just started sending me these songs, and I would learn the fuck out of them. And like, I'm like, dude, that shit was so cool. And he's like, you can do whatever to it, write on it if you want to. And I'm like, well, you gave me a little one. All right, well, here, I'm gonna pull some shit from mine. Like, check this one out, you know? And now it's just been this back and forth where it's just like, I hope that we do something together someday. And if not, like, at least we can both be there to be like, hey, that's cool. And I'm like, tell me what the fuck you think about it. Like, if you don't like it, like, tell me. That doesn't mean I won't like it. You know, it could be like my proudest work, and you're like, hey, I'm not feeling that. And I'm like, I wouldn't let that get to me. I would appreciate the response, but it's like, I think that is so important just to be excited about something and to give it to somebody and be like, yo, like, I put a lot of fucking intention into this. Like, does it hit you like that? Or do you have any ideas about it? Was any of this like boring to you or didn't, not boring might not be the right word, but like didn't flow that well or seemed out of place, you know? And it's like, that's pushed me to write so much more recently because I'm like, and I have other people that I send stuff to recently. I've just been using Brian as an example because this has been like the past couple weeks. Um, and it just has been inspiring to I'm like writing this thing and I'm like, man, I can't wait to show this to Brian. Like, and it's not always thinking like that, but I'm like, fuck, maybe he'll think this is cool. Maybe he can write a verse. Like he sent me a verse on I texted him happy birthday. He goes, here's some funny shit. Try to write to this. And I started writing this song and I sent him back another verse. So I'm like, your move, brother. Like it's like a little chess game, you know, like checkmate, bitch. Like write something funnier than that or whatever, whatever. Like 'cause he's really quirky and it brings out a style in me where I'm like not trying to match it, but like have my own little flavor. But also I'm like, this is Brian-esque. Like, check this out. Like, see what you think. So I think that was really important. Like having somebody like you look at these people and they have like their songwriting buddies, you know, it's like John Perry Barlow and Bob Weir, Robert Hunter and Jerry, fucking Tom Marshall and Trey. Like there's a million other ones, you know, but it's
Mhm.
like just they didn't play together. Like, I guess they did play, but they weren't. Robert Hunter did get on stage with the Grateful Dead. Tom Marshall probably has before, but he wasn't like playing
Mhm.
the shows with Fish. It was like they have their collaborator that's like not in the band, and like I think it is sometimes good, like having a perspective like from somebody who's not going to get on stage and perform that. Like that's not like maybe they will eventually, but it's like when I send Brian a song, it's like he's internalizing it not from a Sacred Hollow perspective, but from a listener perspective, like from an audience perspective and from a peer and from a brilliant musician's mind perspective. So it's like, I think it is important to have those people beyond the band, that you can just bounce some fucking ideas off of that's like non biased at all. Because I'd be lying to say if you don't like you're thinking about how you're gonna perform these and are people gonna dig it? It's like, is that cheesy or is that weird or blah 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 whatever the fuck? Like those thoughts are gonna come in your head, even if I say I don't care what people think. Like that's human. Like it just happens, and it's like I don't really care. I'm gonna go play my shit regardless. But like I'd be lying if I'm like, damn, is this song gonna slap shoot like right before we play the set? I'm like, should we change this, guys? It's just like anxiety and like just naturally being afraid of what people are gonna think, and it's like that's still you got to work on it all the time, and it's like fucking walk the plank, sink or swim. Like I love that type of shit. Like, well, all four of us we're either gonna sink together or we're gonna swim together. So, but let's do it together, Like, so I don't know. It's cool though, but I like that bouncing, having that like wall or not even a wall, but that other person to like fucking play catch with. Like, here you go. Like, let me know what you think. Toss it back if you have anything. If you don't, like, cool. But yeah, it's been cool exploring that because I never really wrote with anybody. Like, I still write by myself a lot. I'll bring songs to the band, but they're pretty much lyrically done. Like, it's so hard for me to write lyrics to somebody. because I'm just like, they happen when they happen for me, and I really like what I write. And a lot of times I'm like, man, like, not that somebody would mess it up, but like, I'm like, I want to say what I want to say, and like maybe we're not trying to say the same thing. So I'm trying to practice that though, because I think collaboration, songwriting with somebody else, joint like having those sessions is something you have to practice. Opening up to people, being vulnerable, throwing shit at the wall, and like not being afraid of the other person saying, "I don't like that," and you're like, "What the fuck?" It's like, no, okay, cool, like sick. Let's try another idea. You can't like
Mhm.
take it all personally, and like it's been cool trying to figure that out. Because I'll bring the songs to the band, and then like we'll write jam sections together or like arrange it. And I'm like, "Do you guys like this? Like, is there anything you change?" But typically, lyrically, they're not gonna. They're like, at least thus far, there hasn't been anything where like, I don't think you should say that, unless I say "fuck" in the song somewhere where Matt thinks it's like out of place. I'm like, maybe like a big f bomb there is not the move. So shit like that. But like, it's been cool trying to figure out songwriting with people and just like just get together and create, like whether it's been going to be played ever again on a stage or anything. Like we wrote that together and that was cool. So trying to figure all that shit out and practice that a little bit more. But yeah, that was
Well,
just another tangent where I don't remember the question.
no, well, no, it's that sense of trust in another person when it's like I said
Right,
earlier, when you're writing and you're creating something, you're bearing a part of yourself. So giving that to somebody to interpret, but giving somebody that with the intention for them to also manipulate it a little bit
right,
is letting go of that control. And we're
hundred
human,
percent,
we tend to control. But
right.
something that I've really tried to subscribe to over the past little while of my life and over the past few years is, to me, the ultimate control is the ultimate release, and vice
Mhm,
versa. And
right,
a phrase that I kind of coined of my own is that you can't grab onto anything until you let go of everything. And I think within music and within writing and collaborating, it's something to practice and to work on, but being willing, there's that thing where people are like, don't judge me on my bad ideas, or don't judge me on
mhm,
how bad my bad ideas are. Judge me on how
right,
good my good ideas are.
right,
But it's a totally encompassing thing because your bad ideas and your good ideas are still your fucking ideas. It's still
right. Like,
your brain.
who's to say which one's good and bad? Because I'm just like, that's all up for like for the receiving end. It's like
Hmm.
some people love Little Miss Tipsy. Some people think it's the dumbest shit they've ever heard. People are like, "Oh my god, I want to get married to that song." And other people are like, "That shit. When did you write that, bro? When you were 18?" Oh, I can tell, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
It's like funny how that goes because I'm always like, "Oh, people love that shit," and then you get this one person who's like, "What? That was fucking lame," or whatever. And sometimes people aren't afraid to say that after the show in their own way. Don't take offense to this, but I didn't fuck with any of that. It's like, okay, sick.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, who's to say? Like the best song, what I think is my best shit, could be on the bottom of people's list. So it's like, I don't know. Judge me for the whole fucking journey. Listen to all my shit. You can judge. You might think one's fucking amazing and one's not. That's how songwriting goes, though.
Hmm.
It's like just keep on writing them. It's not always gonna be your, what is the thing called, the opus, whatever the fuck, your like masterpiece. And it's like the feeling I got writing the song the other day was like so amazing, like a feeling like I got writing all the songs that we played that people like. The feeling was the same. So I'm like, how could I even judge which one I got off on writing that? And like if you didn't like it, I still got the same experience at it. I still had that feeling, that golden hour of thought where my brain is just flowing and it's like, I put a lot of merit into that. And if you don't, that's okay. So it's like, it's all up for people's interpretation at the end of the day.
I think you have a really cool relationship with what music means to you. And what I've kind of noticed as a theme throughout this conversation is that music is definitely an interpersonal thing for you, but you also have a really good ability to like let it go and to write. And there's that old, the dead, once we're done with it, they can have it.
Right.
And while music is teaching you and writing is helping you implement these things into your life, you also seem to just have a very carefree attitude towards it. And I think you have a really beautiful balance towards music is my thing and it means something to me, and writing is how I progress and how I check myself. But also, like, I don't, you, it means whatever it means to you. I did it. It meant something to me. You can, whatever you
Right.
want. And
Right.
that hands on, but willingly hands off, I just think is a really cool balance that you have. And I
Well, I
think
appreciate.
that that's something that we can all try to relate to finding that balance in our mental health is, being having the interpersonal journey and the enterprise of mental
Yeah.
health and being invested in ourself internally in our important growth and our personal growth, but then also translating it into life and going out and having fun and being willing to be an idiot and not worried about being judged and just being, like we said, 100% unapologetically fucking you. And there's not enough people that do that. And don't get me wrong, we all have trauma responses and we have reasons for, fear. I have them all myself. Like, I'm terrified of being a burden to people. So I never ask
Yeah.
people for help. Meanwhile, I'm
I
the one
feel you.
here trying to help everyone I can and do a podcast
Right.
about mental health and be a surrogate therapist.
Right.
But that also fills me up and it makes me feel good that I can be that for people. And I
Right.
really genuinely get enjoyment out of that. But it's so funny that on the flip side, I'm like, yeah, nope, I'm fine. I'm good. I don't need help. I'm all right.
Right. Right. Right. Right.
I can carry all these bags all by myself. I got it. It's like, really? Because you get your hands are pretty full. It's like, nope, I'll throw this one around my neck. I got it. Like, don't worry. Um, but yeah, I think the idea of accepting exactly who you are without fail, without fear, without worry is a challenge, but it's so important to embark on that journey itself and try to fortify your mental health and try to, like you said, you had to find Alex. I've had to find Mike. But the beauty is we're still finding respectively
Every day.
every day. I find something new about myself every day.
I'm way different now, and that's honestly been such an interesting journey too. I mean, like I said, I go to bed early. Like I ain't out partying in Nashville. Not even partying, like going around. I'm like, are you fucking lame now, dude? Like, I'm like, you'd rather eat dinner at like 6:30 and like pick your guitar and go to bed by 9. I'm like, fuck yeah, that sounds amazing. Like, it's such a different mindset I have, and I'm just like, wow, I'm getting older. I'm like fucking 29, but I feel that shit. Like, did you feel like you got older? I'm like, no, no, no. It's 29. I'm like, yes, actually, I do. Finally, I'm getting older. My body aches more. Like I'm dealing with. I mean, it's not bad yet, but I'm like, oh, this is what these people are fucking talking about. They're like, just wait till you turn 30. I'm like, shit, I'm already fucking starting to feel it. But it's like, I love who I am still, even more, like even more so, and like this exploring what will be the rest of my life and getting into new hobbies. Like me and Tasha went and played tennis yesterday. Like I'm like, cool, that was fun. We got out, enjoyed the day, like something new. Like I think you gotta find things, hobbies, and other things because like again, there is a lot of life left to live, and like there's a lot of time in the day to fill, depending on the day. Some days I'm busy as shit all day long, but it's like exploring these things where it's like I used to not think about that at all. I'm just like, let's go smoke weed and whatever, sit around all day. Like I could do that for hours and just chill. What y'all want to do? You want to chill? Like, dude, I don't even know how to chill anymore. Like, I don't even know how to hang out with people, which I do, but it's like you got to work those bones. Like, I can't just like sit there. I'm like, let's go do something. That's why the slack line's been so great. I'm like, you guys want to hang out? I'll have my guitar. I'll have the slack line. We'll be at a park. Like, we're gonna be doing something. We can have communication, but like, I don't want to just like go and like sit on the couch all day. Like, I can't do that anymore. I'll go crazy in your living room. You're like, why are you pacing? You want to take a seat? And I'm like, no, my mind's fucking going. Like, I don't know. It's like such an interesting transition into my adulthood. And like, I'm sure I'll continue to change, I guess that's just that's what happens. You shed some layers and You said those people will always be with you, but you can shed that skin, but it's not forever gone. But it's like there's things that used to really be a foundation in my life that aren't so much anymore. Like that I would 5 years ago, I'd be like, I'll never give that up. You will never skateboarding. I'm like, you'll never not see me skateboarding. I still skate, but I'm not like skate or die. Like if I break my wrist, my life's fucked. Like I would love to get back into skateboarding, but it's like that's still a part of me. That's a foundation. But like I'm not out there fucking doing it all the time. And like I don't know, there's these things that you just in fish. I'm like, I will never not be this raging fish head, like fucking A, that's all I listen to. And like I can't tell you the last time I turned on fish. That's great. I've seen him recently, but it's like I listened to only fish for like 3 years straight. I'm like dead or fish, like 70s and 80s dead or like fish. Like that was like my fucking shit. Like there was nothing else but that. And like it's still such a huge part of my life, but I'm like the bluegrass, not even the bluegrass guy now, but like fuck, I listen to like pop, like Lizzie McAlpine or like fucking death metal and fucking whatever all over the place now. And it's like it makes me happy. It's what I'm into right now. Doesn't define me. Like I was like letting these things define me. I think now
Mhm.
as I get older, it's just like there's less of those things where I'm like, I'm this or I'm this. Back to the thing. I'm Alex. Fucking Alexander Kavas King up in this motherfucker, and I'll scream that from the top of a fucking mountain. Like I believe that, and that's like I think that's like a really cool place to be because then now that I believe that, like the rest that's just change, just growth, evolution. It's like I'm glad I figured out my core fundamentals and what I really care about. And now it's like just paving the way for the rest of my life and letting it all unfold and working my ass off and like taking care of this. And first and foremost, like the point of this fucking conversation is like none of that would be possible if I didn't check in and like develop these things, like ways to cope, ways to deal with emotions and like not run from them. Like too many people fucking kill themselves. Like Jeff Austin, fucking Neil Casal. It's like, what is happening? Fucking Max Graham from Kind Country. It's just like they didn't have to fucking do that. Like, what draws you to do that? Like they must have not had checked in or known how to check in, or it had gotten so far and so dark that like there's no other way. I can't even I can't fathom that. Like that it hurts. It sucks. Like it's really shitty that that can fucking people can get so far away from themselves that like there's no other option but to end it. Like just blows my mind. So it's just like such an important thing. Like recognizing that, checking in with yourself, checking in with your fucking bandmates, like the conversation we had the other day. Like we have to talk to each other. Like we have to check in. Like this has to be like we gotta have like I want to have meetings now. Like we're not even gonna play music together. Like let's sit down and fucking have a family dinner and be like, how we doing, boys and girls and whoever's there, friends and family. Like, how are y'all doing? Like, is there anything you want to talk about? This is a safe space. And it's like people just don't they overlook that until it's too late. And then it's like, fuck, wish we would have done something. And it's just like such a shame when it's like that. Fuck, if we just would have done something. It's like hindsight's 2020. So yeah, it's been life is beautiful though, and I think is there's only more amazing things are gonna happen as long as we let them and as long as we take care of each other. So
Yeah,
it's very important,
it's
but it's nice
so
having found the little bit of shit that I found. I'm not saying I have it all figured out, but it is a cool thing being like, all right, dog, like you're doing pretty fucking good, man. You were not doing good. You've come a long fucking way. So it's like pat yourself on the back.
absolutely. And I think everything you just said is so sick. And first of all, like, good for you. That's awesome to have that outlook and to have reached that place. And I feel like I'm in a similar one. And while I can tell you that I am proud of you, I think it's more imperative. And a friend of mine recently taught me this, that I can tell you that I'm proud of you, but I would rather tell you that I hope that you're proud of you.
Right. Yeah, it's so important.
And I think that like you were saying, like there is so I've never been a prideful guy in my life. I've never celebrated myself. I've never been the one to scream my name from the top of a mountain. But why fucking
Right.
not? and we deserve to, and we should love ourselves. And
Right.
I think an important thing that you mentioned, and I put this out because I've recently had brushes with suicide and things of that nature. For anybody that listens to this, talk to somebody, reach out to a friend, tell your girlfriend that you're not having a good day. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That's not weakness, that's strength. And
Yeah, it's nothing to do.
a lot of people really do wait till it's too late, but it's also on the responsibility. It's the responsibility of us to check in on the people that
You're
might
right.
not check in on themselves.
Yeah.
And I love every single thing that you just said, and it's so important not to wait and not to be afraid. You have there's somebody listening to this right now that feels like they might be alone. You're not alone.
Straight
Nobody is
up.
truly alone in this world. Even if you want to be and you put yourself in a
Yeah.
corner, everybody's got somebody. And if you feel like you don't, reach out to somebody that you don't know. Reach out to me through the podcast, find the Instagram page, find me on social media. I'm here for any and everybody that I can be. And there are other people in this world that are willing and want to do the same, because
Right.
I want to love myself. I want to love you, and I want you to love you too, because you're worth it.
Right.
And self-worth is the biggest enterprise and the best and most fruitful journey that we could ever have in life.
Right.
And with
I
that,
agree.
I wanna just give you complete open floor. It could be about music, it can be to your friends, it can be to your family, it can be to anybody, about anything. If there's one thing that Alex would want to share with the world right now, what would it be?
That's a tough one. I would say fucking go for it. There's an Avett Brother lyric that like really fucking hit me, and it's decide what to be and go be it. And it's like it takes a long time. That's not even true. It takes the amount of time it takes to find out what you're passionate about. But like once that fire is lit, like keep on fucking searching for it. If you haven't felt it, like you're gonna fucking feel it. Like whatever it may be. I don't give a shit what it is. It could be your accounting job, it could be your corporate office job, whatever the fuck. It could be painting, fucking dancing, whatever the fuck it may be. Like go for it. Like I don't know what I would be doing. And like my path was like such a weird one that led me to where I had no intention of doing any of this. And it's like it smacked me in the face. And I was not prepared to start playing guitar in a band. Like I was not at all. And you fucking go and close your eyes and hope for the best. And it was terrifying. Like the whole experience has been terrifying. And all the above, I've experienced all the emotions, but like go for it. Believe in yourself and like it's okay if it doesn't work out. Like it everything is going to be fine. Trust the fucking process and be try to be good at what you want to do. Like really take it fucking seriously and it's like you can do whatever you want. Anything is feasible. Like I'm a living testament to that. Like it blows my mind every day where I'm at and what we're doing. And like I'm not saying I've made it by any means because we haven't, but like we found the path that we're supposed to walk and like there's good we're going where we gotta go, we going up and up, baby. Like I'm fucking trekking this path. Like do it well. Walk fucking proud, like and keep on moving. Like don't get stagnant. Do not get stagnant. And like that's my message to the world. Love hard, be yourself, fucking enjoy this life we're given because you don't want to fucking die at 65. You don't want to croak out. That is such a stupid statement. I've heard too many people say that. I'm like, we've been blessed with this life. Are you fucking kidding me? Look outside. Look at what is going on. Like our world's kind of fucked too, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's fucked." I'm like, my life is so beautiful. Like there's so much shit going on that's so fucking sad and so terrible, and like that needs to be recognized. But like there is also so many amazing things that happen within the first 30 minutes of me waking up every day, and I'm just like, wow, like I'm so blessed to be able to fucking open my eyes and have this day. Like to do what I do and whatever may happen. So like, yeah, be passionate about something, figure out what that is and fucking go at it, you know? Enjoy this life, because who knows what happens when we fucking die. But like, I know I wake up and I have the opportunity to experience this, and it's like I'm gonna try to experience that to the fullest. So that's what I will leave. That would be my statement, because I could go on about that, but like I think I've said enough on that, where I feel strongly about how I've gotten the point across, and that's what I'll leave you guys. Fucking go do the damn thing.
That was really great, and I believe in that, and I love that. And what I'll tack on a little bit extra to that, there's this cool songwriter that I know that wrote this. This winding road is filled with valuable lessons. If you walk it with intention every day, you'll find your way. Just this dude that I met this one time in a hotel. Um, but no,
It's the wreckage, baby. That
yeah,
means a lot too. That was yeah. I've had people come up and talk to me about that line as well. Yeah, man, intention, and we gonna find our fucking way, and that's what that shit is about. Thank you, like internalizing that shit. Like
yeah, man.
you can tell in the parallels in the way I speak. It's like it's all in the songs, you know.
Yeah, and I
That's my
just felt the
reality.
need.
That's my truth.
Yeah, I felt the need to tack that on, and I
Thank
just
you. I
want to
appreciate
say
that.
thank you
That's
very
it.
much for the time. Thanks for genuinely. I didn't know what was gonna come out of this, but I'm so glad to know you better, and how
Yeah,
many
man.
fucking similarities we have, and how many things that from here on we can talk about and connect
Oh yeah.
on more and more. And I'm gonna
More
challenge
money.
myself post this podcast. I'm gonna send you songs that I've written and let you check them out. And you can tell me what you think. And maybe try to collaborate a little bit just because.
Do it. Dude, I'm all ears, brother. Send me whatever the fuck, man.
Yeah.
If I can
I'm
write on it too, you let me know what you want me to do, man. I love hearing what people create, dude. Never hesitate. You got my number. Send me literally whatever.
I'm going to. And again, like I
Please.
said, just thanks so much for the time, and thank
Yeah,
you
thank you, Mike.
for doing what you do and being out on the road. And I'm so stoked to watch you as a man, as a musician, continue your path and grow. And I'm excited to see all of the levels that Sicard gets to, and just musically, mentally, as a human. I'm very
Yeah,
stoked to know you in this life, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate the time. So thank you.
likewise, brother. Hey, man, it's been a pleasure. That was an amazing conversation, and yeah, I think I'll take a lot from this as well, which is like so amazing doing a podcast where it's like a joint thing, you know. It's like that was beautiful. So yeah, keep on doing this shit, man. This is I back you 100%. Not that you even need that, but I'm on your team, brother.
I appreciate that. And I'll end as I always do with a message to you and to the people. I believe in you in every single fucking thing that you do in this life. And I love you. So wherever you go from here, wherever we go from here, like my friend said, choose what to be and go fucking be it. Be you, be unapologetically you, love yourself, love
Mhm.
life, love the world, and just get out there and do the damn thing.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, I appreciate the time. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And until then, take care and be well.
Hell yeah.